guys, we are on chapter 9, lesson 9 of our math books. We are on page 687 and we're going to start learning about halves. Now we kind of experienced some of this with the last one, we just didn't use the name half. So when you take a shape and you divide it into two equal parts, that means that you have two halves. So what we're going to do on this first page where we see that little piggy and the math in our world, we are going to draw three shapes. We're going to draw a square, a circle, and a rectangle, just like this. So I have my square, and remember our square is going to have 4 equal sides. So each side should be about the same size. We're also going to draw a circle, which is going to have no straight sides. And then we're going to draw a rectangle, which is going to have 2 long sides and 2 short sides. So let's get that drawn up. And these are going to be like our little piggy pens. Woo. Alright, so when we're finished with that, we are going to draw one line into each of these to divide it into halves. So my first one, I'm going to take my square and I'm going to start it from the top and just go down. So I'm going to start right in the middle. I don't want to start too far this way or else it won't be equal, would it? And I don't want to start too far that way. Same thing, it wouldn't be equal. So I'm going to start right in the middle and draw a straight line down. Just like that. Go get some food. Alright, so now I'm going to look at my circle. I know that it's not the most perfect circle, but I did my best and we kind of get the gist. So I need to draw a line in it so that I can cut it in half. Now if I drew my line up here, do you think that's in half? No. So I'm going to start it kind of right in the middle. And I'm going to draw a straight line, cutting it right in half, so each side is equal. So if I was sharing it between 2 people, each person would get an equal amount. Right, now my rectangle, I am going to work on dividing that one into halves. So I'm going to start in the middle this way. I'm going to go across this time. So a straight line across.
And then down and then that way and then back up and then that way.
So I have my square separated into 2 equal parts, which are 2 halves. My circle is in 2 equal parts, or 2 halves. And my rectangle is separated into 2 parts, or 2 halves. So the next thing that we're going to do after we've divided each one in half, we are going to take 2 colors. So I'm going to do red and green, and we're going to color each half a different color.
I'm going to do mine.
No, thank you. So I'm going to color this half red.
And the other half green.
And the other half is going to be green.
Like my dress.
Your dress is blue, babe.
Blue green.
Alright, so then I'm going to do that with my circle also. So I'm going to color my circle. One half is going to be red. And the other half will be green. My rectangle, I'm going to do the top half red. And the bottom half will be green. So each one is going to have 2 colors because when you divide something into halves, you get 2 equal parts out of it. So you're going to go through, you're going to color your square, your circle, and your rectangle, and I will meet you on the next page. If you are not finished with it yet, go ahead and pause here and continue on to the next page when you're finished. Alright, welcome back. So a whole that is separated into 2 equal parts is separated into 2 halves. And each part of that half will make a whole. So if you put 2 of those halves together, that'll make one whole. So you have a picture of a circle and a rectangle at the top of your page, and our circle is cut in half like this. So we have 1 half here and 2 halves, the second half on the bottom. Same with our rectangle. They were able to separate the rectangle into 2 equal parts or 2 halves one here, and the second one right here. So in each of these we have how many equal parts? 2. So we're going to write 2 on that first line. And if you have 2 equal parts, how many halves does that mean you have? Yes, we have 2. So we're going to write 2 up there. Alright, so when you're finished filling those in, we're going to take a look at questions number 1 and 2. You're going to see a square and a circle here. Our square is cut in half right in the middle, and it's asking us how many equal parts that we have. So we're going to count those equal parts. Ready? 1, 2. So we're going to write 2 on that line. Then we're going to look at our circle, and we're going to count how many equal parts that one has. Ready? 1, 2. So we have 2 equal parts there. So we have 2 halves. So I'm going to write 2 on my line. Number 3 and 4, they're changing it up a little bit. They want us to draw where our line is going to go so that we have 2 equal parts, or 2 halves. So we can take a look and see how we want to do it this time. I see a lot of them are going across, so I'm going to go straight up and down, right in the middle. So I'm going to draw my straight line right down like this. You do not have to do yours like that. You can do it another way if you'd like. But then I have 2 equal parts of my rectangle, or I cut it right in half. I have 2 halves. So I'm going to write 2 on that line here. Alright, now we're going to look at our circle. So we're taking a look at this. We're going to try and figure out where we want to put our line to cut it in half. I think I'm going to go a little bit right down the middle this way, right in the middle. Cut it in half. I have 1, 2 equal halves. So I have 2 halves right here, and I'm going to write that on that line. So I'm going to give you a moment to finish filling that out, and then I will meet you on the next page. While you finish that up, go ahead and pause it. Welcome back. We are going to continue working on this next page. The next page, I'm going to go over what you need to do for each problem, but I want you to try and solve it on your own. And when you're all finished up, you can resume this, come back, press play, and we will go over it together. So for questions number 5 and 6, you're going to look at each shape, and you're going to count how many equal parts it has and write that on the line. Now, numbers 7 through 10, it looks a little bit odd. What you are going to be doing is you have 1 half of the shape, and they want you to draw the second half. So add on to it. So for example, if you had a shape kind of like this, you could draw the other half attached to it, and it would make a square. So that's exactly what you're going to be doing there. Take 1 half of what you see and draw the other half right next to it to make that full shape. If it looks a little odd, you might need to erase it, try it again so that you can make your shape. So mostly we're working with our rectangles, our circles, and our squares. So that's what you're going to be making over here. And numbers 11 and 12, they want you to color in half of the shape and tell me how many of that is colored in, of how many parts. So how many parts did you color in? How many parts are there all together? So color in half of it, then say how many you've colored in and how many there are all together that are colored in and not colored in all together. So go ahead and pause this and we'll come back up. Ready? Pause. All right, let's take a look at number 5. We're just counting how many equal parts it has. So we look at the top. I'm going to go ahead and write my numbers in so I can keep track of how many I have. And I have 1, 2 equal parts. So I'm going to write 2 on my line right up here. Make sure when you write your numbers, you're writing them in the right direction. If you need a number line or anything like that, go ahead and post that up there so that you can keep track of how to write your numbers the right way. Number 6, I'm looking at a circle. It looks like it's been cut in half, so I have 1, 2 equal parts there. So I'm going to write that on my line. So I have 2 equal parts for my circle. Number 7, this is where things got a little bit more tricky. We were drawing the second half of our shape. So number 7, we had something kind of like this square. Now we are trying to make the second half, so I'm going to draw something that looks exactly like this attached to it. And that's how I make my second half. It needs to be exactly equal to it. So I'm going to draw my line out like this, bring it down, and there I have a rectangle. Next, I have number 8. I have a little semicircle. I have half of a circle. I need to draw the second half. Now, there's only one way for me to draw it, and that's down, because if I drew it over here, it wouldn't make a circle, would it? No. So I'm just going to draw kind of like I'm making a smiley face and attach it over here, and then I have my circle. Alright, number 9, I have a really long rectangle, and I need to draw the second half that I'm going to draw right below it, and I'm going to make it look just like the one on top, make it equal to it so that there could be 2 halves. So there's my rectangle there. And the last one, I have a little rectangle like this. We're trying to make a square. So I'm going to pull it out over here, bring it down and across. And then I made my square over here. Alright, number 11 and 12, we were coloring in half of the shape. And then we are going to write down how many we colored in out of how many parts we have total. So first, let's go ahead and see how many parts we have so that we know what we're working with. So I have 2 parts. So that's what we're going to have in our bottom line. Same here, I have 2 parts. So when it says blank of this many parts, that's going to be how many parts you have there total, all together, before you even color anything. Alright, so now we're going to color half of it. So I'm going to color in this half right here. I only want to color this side because if I colored the whole thing, then I would have colored the whole thing. I would have just colored the square. So I colored only 1 part, so I'm going to write 1 up here. Same with this one, I'm going to color in half of my rectangle. Try and color it in nicely over here. So I colored in 1 part of the 2 parts to make my half. So go ahead and make sure that you've got that all finished up, and then you are going to start working on questions number 13, 14, and 15. Number 13, it says, Joey has a hot dog. He cuts it in half. How many equal parts of the hot dog does he have? So Joey has a hot dog. He cuts it in half. How many equal parts is the hot dog cut into? If you need to, you can draw a picture. If you've got plenty of space to draw a picture of a hot dog that's going to be like a long oval, go ahead and draw your line to cut it in half. And then on that line, write down how many equal parts that hot dog is going to be cut into. Number 14 says, Tina draws this square. And that's the little, green or blue square on the side. Help Tina by drawing a line to show 2 equal parts. Draw another line that also shows 2 equal parts. So first, Tina draws this square. Help her draw a line to separate it into 2 equal parts. And then show another way that you can cut that into 2 equal parts. When you're finished with that, number 15 says, Jenna is eating half of an orange. Samantha is eating the other half of the same orange. Jenna says she has less than Samantha. Can she be right? So Jenna is eating half of an orange, and Samantha is eating the other half of the same orange. Jenna says that she has less than Samantha. Can she be right? Go ahead and write your answer on those lines underneath. And while you work that out, I'll get it all put up on the board. When you're all finished, we will go over it all together. So ready? Pause. Alright, welcome back. So we are going to work through these problems over here. I left a little bit of space on number 13 so I could draw out that hot dog for us. So we're trying to figure out, Joey has a hot dog, he cuts it in half, and we want to know how many equal parts that we have. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this hot dog so that I can figure out how many equal parts it's going to have. So here is my hot dog right up here, and I'm going to cut that right in half, and then I'm going to look and see how many equal parts I have. So I have 1, 2 equal parts, so that's what I'm going to write on my line over here. So I'm going to say 2 equal parts. Alright, next I'm looking at my square on number 14. I drew 2 so that we could show the 2 different ways that you can cut it in half. So Tina draws the square here, and we want to cut that in half for her. We want to draw it into 2 equal parts. So the first way I'm gonna do it is by starting at the top and going straight down. And remember, I gotta start right in the middle so that there are 2 equal parts. So I take my line and I draw straight down. Alright, for the next one, I need to find a new way that I can do it, so I can't start at the top this time. I'm gonna start on the side. So I'm gonna start right in the middle here, draw a straight line, and cut that in half. So now we have 2 different ways that you can cut this in half. Another way that you could possibly do it is diagonally. So you could start at one of the vertex and draw straight down the middle, right into the next vertex. And that will give us 2 triangles that are going to be the same exact shape. They're going to be equal. Okay, number 15, it says that Samantha and Jenna are sharing an orange. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a picture of my orange there. And my orange is going to be a nice circle. Now, it said that Jenna was eating half of the orange. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half. Now, Jenna was eating half of the orange, and Samantha was eating half of the same orange. So Jenna tried to say that Samantha was eating more orange than she was. She said that she had more. But can that be true? No, because if Jenna has half and Samantha has half, then that will make one whole, right? So what we're going to write on those lines is that no, she can't be right. So no. And the reason why that's not right is because 2 halves will make one whole. If Samantha had more than Jenna, then that wouldn't be one whole orange. They would have had to grab another orange. So no, 2 halves make, M-A-K-E, we've got that long A sound, one whole.
Max!
So the parts are the same size. S-I-Z-E. And I'm going to end that with a period. So we're going to say no, 2 halves make one whole. So the parts are the same size. So go ahead and finish writing that out. I'm going to tell you what we're going to be doing with our homework, which you are going to do on your own. And then you're going to take a picture of that and send it to me. So for my homework, you are going to be looking at number 1 and 2. You're going to see a shape that's been divided in half. You're going to write down how many equal parts you see. Number 3, you're going to draw the line to show the 2 equal parts, and you're going to write down how many halves there are. Number 5 and 6, you're going to be drawing the second half of the shape. So it has 1 half, you need to draw in the second half. It'll look exactly the same as the first one because they're 2 equal parts, so they need to be the same. We are also going to be working on coloring in half and writing down how many we've colored in out of how many parts there are total. And then you have a couple word problems to work out as well, and circling which one shows the half. So go ahead and finish this up. You can pause it if you need to, and I'll put in a pause break in there. And then when you're all finished, just do your homework and submit that, take pictures, and then you're all finished with this one. Great job, guys. All right, ready? Pause if you need to. If not, I will see you on the next lesson. Bye, guys.